Did Joe bring bad luck? In less than 3 years as U.S. President, Joe Biden has faced more than his share of international crises. America's withdrawal from Afghanistan exploded like a cluster in his hands. Now the Middle East is suddenly in flames. This could just be bad luck. Or Biden, who prides himself on his foreign policy expertise, may not be as good at running the world as he thinks. But there is another explanation. His name is Donald Trump. If Biden's presidency is damned, it is because of the poisonous legacy of the very steady genius who preceded him. It's worth noting how the toxic effects of Trump's geostrategic car crashes, inept policy missteps, and selfish mistakes continue to be felt around the world, especially since he hopes to become president again. In 2020, Trump announced his final deal for Israeli-Palestinian peace alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His plan was a tribute to right-wing Jewish nationalists. While it gave Israel full control over Jerusalem, much of the West Bank and the Jordan Valley, it also dashed hopes for a viable Palestinian state. It was ridiculously amateurish and out of proportion. He ostracized and humiliated Mahmoud Abbas Palestinian Authority, convincing many of the futility of peaceful dialogue and thus strengthening Hamas. Netanyahu has long advised Trump the Palestinians can safely be ignored, that normalization with Arab countries is a better, more profitable bet, and Iran is the bigger threat. He could barely contain his joy anymore. "You are the best friend Israel has in the White House," he said. Naturally, Trump exaggerated this. The devastating consequences of Trump's dangerous fantasies are now clear to everyone. But the person receiving backlash from left and right is Biden, whose re-election chances are at risk. Partly it's his own fault. He thought that the Palestinian problem could be frozen. Trump, meanwhile, typically turned his back on Netanyahu while praising Iran-backed Hezbollah, a close ally of Hamas, as very smart. Trump's decision in 2018, at Israel's instigation, to unilaterally renege on West's unbacked nuclear nonproliferation agreement with Iran was the biggest American foreign policy blunder since invasion of Iraq. Additional U.S. economic sanctions that followed fatally weakened the moderate reformist presidency of Hassan Rouhani. Iran has embraced Trump's confrontational tone and moved sharply to the anti-Western, rejectionist right. The hard-line and notorious Ebrahim Raisi, president since 2021, has maintained close alliances with Russia and China. In the country, the corrupt, anti-democratic religious oligarchy, headed by Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, brutally suppresses dissidents, especially women's rights defenders. Mahsa Yazdani is the last victim of the mullahs. The crime for which he was sentenced to 13 years in prison was to condemn the of his son, Mohammed Javad Zahedi, by security forces. Such atrocities are commonplace. The devastati